Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's watch list preview. Um, Hope wherever you are, you were okay with this snow. I got up at 6:30 this morning. I have today off, but I got up at 6:30 this morning and went out and started cleaning some snow off. I got back late last night and left my truck out in the driveway because my wife's car was in the middle of the garage, and woke up this morning with about 8 or 9 inches of snow piled on top of it. So I got it in the garage and have the heater running out there, so you might hear that. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but I have a big torpedo heater running out in the garage to try to melt that snow. I brushed it off, but trying to get that melted. I got a guy coming to plow my driveway here, and just trying to get this snow all cleared up today. But anyway, on to the watch list. Pretty decent watch list. We have earnings coming up this week. Actually, I think the bank started last week, but so keep that in mind. I checked TD Ameritrade, and nothing I have on my list here has earnings this week. I think it was Oracle. One of them has earnings on the 25th, but that's not till the following week, so we're okay. We might see a run up. I think it was actually 3M. Might see a run up in earnings on that one, so we'll take a look at that. I'm looking at Pfizer to go drop below. Oracle could go either direction. 3M moving up and John Deere moving up. So these are all inside weekly bars. So let's take a look and see what we have. If you look at Pfizer, I mean, we all know what's been going on with Pfizer with this vaccine and stuff. So that last year was a phenomenal year for them, obviously. So far this year we're inside and we're moving down, but that's to be expected when you have such a great year the year before. There's going to be some profit taking, and whether they bring it back up or not, who knows. But if you look at the year and the quarter and the month, they're all inside, and I don't want to say inside and down. They're all inside red. Inside and down would mean that, go back to the quarter. Inside and down would mean that we've broke this bottom, the low of the inside candle. So I don't want, if I say that, just ignore that because I have a habit of saying it, but it's not the right terminology. But we're inside red on every time frame. Go back to the month, inside red. Look at the week. We had a green week here, but it was still 2 down. So we've had 3 2 downs in a row on the weekly. Right now we were inside the previous week, so but it's kind of a shooter here. So I'm looking for a break below that inside candle to continue this downtrend. Here's my broadening formation I drew off the weekly. You can see we went from the week of 12/20 to the week of January 3rd. So let's see if we break this low, see if we can come down at least to this pivot point here, which was drawn off of this previous high. So if we get to that, there's a good chance we're going to come down and test this bottom of the broadening formation, and then we'll look for a bounce from there. But right now I'm looking for a break below this inside candle at 54.51. We come down to ultimate target is going to be right here, but if we come down and get to this pivot, maybe the bottom of the broadening formation, targets I have this pivot low on the daily at 53.94, which isn't a big move, and then we have a gap right here on the daily. So let's look for enter the gap at 53.44 is target 2. Then a gap fill is going to be 52.85. From there, we could look for 51.12 and then 50.42 for that pivot low there. So that's what I would be looking for here. If we come back to the weekly, the bottom of this pivot here is at 51.87. The bottom of the broadening formation is going to be about $51 roughly. Figure right about here, just under $51. and that's going to get real close to this pivot low here. So ultimately, I'd like to see it down here at about 50, just below $51. And if we get that low, we may 50 is a very strong mental support resistance level. So if we get below 51, we may just come down and try this 50 out. So we may come down and poke just a little bit below this broadening formation before we bounce. You see we have right here, we have support here, and then the bottom broadening formation is real close to that. So we should have pretty good support, plus the mental resistance or mental support at 50. So we'll see if we can get to that $50 level, but for now, these are the targets I have. So keep an eye on Pfizer for a break to the downside. Oracle's a little bit different. I don't normally do one way or the other way. Oracle could go either direction. I usually either pick something to the upside or something to the downside, because I look at the longer time frames and see which way the trends are going. But obviously Oracle on the yearly is in an uptrend. So far, only 2 weeks in, but so far we're not really moving anywhere this year with it. If you look at the quarterly, we had a shooter on the quarterly, and then we broke the low of that shooter to go 2 down. Still a doji candle. I mean, we really haven't moved much, but if this shooter triggers again, we could see it pull back down to $77, about $78. So let's keep an eye out for that. The reason I'm looking at the uptrend is because it's been so strong lately. If you look at the monthly, we had a shooter on the monthly also. We've triggered that. Yeah, this was an outside candle again, so we've triggered that outside shooter, but we're kind of resting here in this 9 SMA. So let's see if we break below that, re-trigger this shooter here. And if you look at the week, this is why I'm wondering if we might go to the upside. We had a doji, 2 dojis in a row. We had an inside candle here, and on this inside candle, our magnitude would be right here, and we hit that. Then we formed 2 dojis in a row, 2 weeks in a row, with a green 2 down followed by an inside candle. So this could very well have bottomed out now, and for that reason, if we break to the upside above 89.52, then I'm looking for targets of right here, because here's our trigger. Now we'd have a target here, but this is 89.58. It's only 6 cents above our trigger. This here isn't much higher. It's 89.80. So I'd be looking at this. This would be actually a pivot high. It doesn't look like it, but it's a pivot high, because this is a 2 down, this is a 2 up. So this is actually in an odd way, it's a pivot high. If you look at it on a smaller time frame, this would be a pivot high. So 90.33 is target 1. Right here at 91.86 is target 2. Right here we're looking at 96.42 for target 3. And then we have a gap here. And again, it's a daily chart. 99.95 would be the beginning of the gap. Obviously, $100 is going to be mental resistance. And then the gap fill is going to be at 102.28. So that's what I'm looking for to the upside. Now, if we look at the downside now, because the only thing that looks good on Oracle over to the upside is the yearly. And not that it looks good right now, because we're inside and haven't moved, but it's been so strong over the years, it's definitely in an uptrend. And then the weekly, it looks like it's starting to do that little curl to possibly bounce back up. However, every other time frame looks pretty bad. So we may break to the downside, and I forgot to rename this. Inside week down, and I change that to white. The triggers are always white. So if we break down below 86.66, that'll trigger the downside move. And we look at the daily. I know this is hard to look at with all these levels, but we're looking at 85.55 for target 1. It's a $1.11 move. Target 2, we're looking way back here at this pivot low at 84.93. Target 3, we're looking at this low here of what am I looking at here? Actually, no. We had 84.93. This one here would be 84.73. And then the next one we have would actually, you know what? I did go to the weekly on this one because I was going so far back on the daily that it was getting kind of hard to read. So I did go on this one. I did these Friday night, so my memory's not that great. So yeah, we were looking at this low here for target 1 of 84.93. This one here, target 3 is 81.36. 90.33. Let me back up. I got too many. It's hard to do when you have them scrunched together. 85.55, 84.93, 81.36. I got that out of the way. So here we go. That's the Oracle to the downside. The next one is 3M. 3M has earnings, according to Thinkorswim, January 25th. That'll be next Tuesday. So we may see a run up in the earnings here. So if we go look at the yearly, we've had a couple of bad years in a row, followed by a 2-up, kind of a spinning top, and so far this year it's a doji. So the year, we don't really have a lot to go off of on the year. On the quarter, we're looking at, we had a 2 down doji and still doji on the quarter this year. On the month, we're getting that rounded bottom look again. Starting to get that rounded bottom like we're going to bounce. We had a 2 down here that was green, followed by an outside candle, followed by another green 2 down, followed by a green 2 up doji. And we're still working on that candle. That candle hasn't finished yet. On the weekly, we've already seen that rounded, well, I shouldn't say rounded bottom. It's more of a valley. But 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, and then inside. So let's see if we can break this to the upside. Trigger is going to be 181.34. And if we come down to the daily for some targets here, we're looking at 181.78. Over here at 182.28. You could put a target here, but I chose to come up here to 183.87, 184.20, 185.04, and up here at 186.30. And when I say I chose to skip a target, my reasoning for that is if you have a stop set, usually you're probably going to set your stop right here. So if you break this one, you're going to have momentum when this one triggers because you're going to be triggering some stops. So if you hit this one, you're likely going to hit this one, and then you're going to trigger some stops. If you're short this, you're probably going to have your stop either here or here, and likely going to be here, just to give you that little bit of extra room. Since it's such a tight range, you're probably going to put your stop here rather than here. And like I said, if you trigger this one, probably won't trigger as many stops, but you're so close that you're probably going to hit this and start triggering these. And once you start triggering these, then you're looking at trying to move up to this one. So when I say I skipped one that's really tight, that's usually why. So let's take a look at John Deere. If we look at John Deere on the year, it's had phenomenal years, several years in a row, going back 6-7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 ups in a row. This year so far, again, we're only 2 weeks in. This year is inside, but it's green, and we're getting close to going 2 up again. We could potentially go 2 up even this week if it has a really good week. Look at the quarterly. We had a 2 up, we had a red 2 down, followed by an inside, a red inside, and then we poked down below that, formed like a kind of a spinning top, and then we went 2 up. So we kind of bounced right off of that. So on the quarterly, we're back into reverse to the upside again. If you look at the monthly, kind of like leveled off here. We had a big drop here, then we kind of leveled off right in this range for about 3 months in a row, and then January it took off again. So the monthly's looking really good. If you look at the weekly, the weekly was kind of, and this is that range I told you, it was kind of just chopping around. This right here is all just chop. Not saying you can't trade it, because there's $30, $40 range there. You can trade it. It's just very difficult. But on the weekly, we went 2 up with a huge green candle. The 9 crossed above the 21 SMA, so I like that. This broke us out of that range, and last week we're inside. Almost went 2 up on it, but it was an inside week. We're pretty close to breaking the top side of that, so that's what I'm looking for here. The trigger is going to be a break above 385.89, and then target 1 is this high here at 387.19. Target 2 is here at 393. Target 3 is going to be up here at $400.34. Now, I didn't put that last target on here, but I'm going to now. $400.34. So, let me go back and change that. Inside week up. Oops, I forgot to put T3. And there's our third target. So that's what I'm looking for on John Deere, and this is my watch list for this week. Remember earnings. I really have no idea how earnings are going to be. I don't think, in my opinion, and I know my opinion doesn't mean much, but I don't think earnings season is going to be very good. With inflation the way it's been, the job market the way it's been, the supply chains the way it's been, I just don't see us having very good earnings this time around. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to depend a lot on the guidance too. They could have bad earnings, but have great guidance with future plans that Wall Street might like, and if that's the case, then we might see good moves on earnings. But just my thoughts are earnings aren't going to be that great this time. So keep that in mind. Like I said, according to TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, none of these have earnings this week, so we don't have to worry about that. 3M's the closest one, and it's next Tuesday, and we may see a run up on that, and we'll go from there. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody kills it this week. Be careful with the snow out there, and thank everyone for watching this video. Like it, subscribe to it, comment on it, share it. I'd appreciate that. That helps me out. It helps keep me motivated to keep doing these. It's been, this whole entire month has been very hectic for me between being sick and everything else going on. and by everything else, I mean, I bowled in a tournament yesterday. I was gone all day. That didn't go well. Uh, I it was actually pretty bad. I think I finished last in like all three sessions, or real close to last. Just really off. But it was fun. Uh, but yeah, with birthday parties and baby showers and just so much going on this month. Like I said, just helps keep me motivated if I see people are following this and watching it and subscribe, and just keeps me going. There's been a couple weeks recently where I was just like, yeah, I'm just not going to do one this week because I'm just worn out. But um, I've still done them. The more people I see are watching them and subscribing, the more motivated I am to keep doing them. So, like I said, it just helps me out just from a more of a mental state than anything. Just helps me out, keep me going, keep me motivated with it. So, I've been so kind of burnout recently. I don't want to say burnout, but just so with so busy that I've actually thought about taking a couple weeks off trading and just not even open up charts for a couple weeks, just because just getting fried and pulled in too many different directions, and the chop going on in the market. I thought about just taking a couple weeks off, but we'll see. I may take this week off from trading. Just I don't know. Just try to rest my mind. So again, thanks for watching, and see you guys later. Bye.